Idols in high places. Howbeit every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places, which the Samaritans have made. Remember, the Samaritans were under the Kabbalah. Topeth is in the valley of Hinnom. Topeth were altars in high places, like trying to build their own way into heaven. In the valley of Hinnom was Gehenna, shades of death, how far away you were defecting from the truth. Every nation in their cities wherein they dwelled. And the men of Babylon made Succoth, Benoth, the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashima. And the Evites made Nebaz and Tarkek, and Seravites burnt their children or to fire to Adramelech and Amalek, the gods of Seraphaim. Remember, now this is where we're getting to Melech and Adramelech. Nothing new, just different terminologies, different time periods, which would have been Molech, burning their children in the fire or slaying the children. Isaiah speaks of this. Passing the seed to the fire and giving them over to Molech, meaning creating the hell for them to live in. Pathetic torture, serving a God that can't save. The gods of Seraphim, remember Lucifer was a cherubim, one of the greatest angels, but fell from pride and sin. So they feared the Lord and made themselves the lowest of the priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. They feared the Lord and served their own gods after the manner of the nations which they carried away from thence. So we can get into Moab, Ammon, Levi, Reuben. These are the different tribes of different things they had done. Wherein, like Judea was under the Talmud, Kabbalah was King Solomon, 666 talents, labor, slavery, and, you know, he was a temple, but that brazen altar, he hardened his way to the will of God because of his evil desires of his heart. God blessed him with many things, but he destroyed his own temple because he lusted after many women and treated people unfairly, like human slavery, labor slavery, you know, for his needs, and didn't take into consideration or have compassion for the lives of other human beings. Unto this day do they former manners. They fear not the Lord, neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment which the Lord commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel, with whom the Lord had made a covenant and charged them, saying, you should not fear other gods, nor bow yourself to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them. But the Lord who brought you up out of the land of Egypt, remember I told you they went down into Egypt, strengthened their hand into Pharaoh, meaning hardening your heart. Went down into Egypt is meaning a confused life. False gods, false worship, phylactery, sin, curses. Strengthen your hand in Pharaoh. Remember, Pharaoh had a hardened heart. He hardened himself to the will of God. He gave him 4 plagues and gave him a chance to turn back. Your own sin should correct you, and your own stumbling block should reprove you. But it did not with him. That was a reprobation occurs, or a seared conscience, where you no longer feel remorse for the sins you're committing. You're hardening your heart to your greatness. You're falling away to your own schemes and devices. Many people in the Bible did this. King Solomon, Asa, Haman, Herod, etc. And this is what he's referring to. Egypt with great power and a stretch. And he remember the plagues he sent upon Egypt and the gods they served. You know, and I commanded them not to do not serve the gods of your forefathers. Great power and stretched out arm, and him shall ye fear, and him shall ye worship, and him shall ye do sacrifices. Exodus 6:6. And the statutes and the ordinance and the law and the commandments which he wrote for you, you shall observe to do forevermore, and you shall not fear other gods. Because it says we see the reward of the wicked and watch them perish. Because even if you could be the most holiest person under apostasy, and you're not under God's provisions or protection, the plagues of Egypt. So this is why I always tell people, if you have a plague or you're suffering, the Lord don't suffer his children wrath. So wrath falls on children who are disobedient, and that's even in phallic worship, being under apostasy, you know, defected from the truth, your innocence and purity. Religion all comes from the kingdom of darkness. He didn't create any of that. We weren't born with a God. We weren't born with a religion. We were born pure and in the image of our Creator. But the Lord your God ye shall fear, and shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies. Howbeit they do not hearken, but they did after their former manner. So these nations feared the Lord, and served the graven images, both their children and their children's children, as did their fathers. So they do unto this day. So like he says, many are called, few are chosen. Many will not wake up or come or flee from Egypt or Babylon. That's why he talks about fleeing Judea. They were under the Talmud. Worse than the Talmud would be the Kabbalah, which is talked about in 2 Chronicles with King Solomon. And Hiram Abi, the Lord blessed him with much wisdom and many things, but he used it for evil desires, destroying his own temple. The brazen altar would be like the hardening of the heart. I tell people all the time, Satan wants to set himself up in your temple. If it's through perversion, through curses, through sin, through ungodly soul ties. When you come to the cross, like they say, your enemies will be of your own house. It's because you're the only one that was delivered to the truth in your secular family that still sits under deception. So that's where the betrayal will come in, because you're walking in the will of God and they're not. If two can't agree, they can't walk together. So it causes dissonance in your own family, the betrayal that it will exist from one kingdom to another. He will do, the separation occurs on its own. I will separate the wheat and the tares. The tares are the devil's children. Gather them and burn them in a lake of fire. The wheat, gather them, preserve them, put them in my barn. So like weeds and flowers, the weeds will grow and not come to fruition. The tares or weeds will not ever come to fruition. They will fall off and wither away, just like the devil's children. You'll see the word of wicked and watch it perish. They will fall away. They will perish. So this is how I can correlate what's being said in the Bible. And nothing new under the sun. The Lord says he reveals all things. Some people just don't come into the truth. They lie under the deceptions that this world has implemented in the narrative of their life. And it's done through Medea, Greek goddess of illusion, secular music, TV, billboards. Remember, Satan is the god of this world. He uses many devices. Be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Know your enemy. This physical reality is his territory. But I am in this world, not of it. So, yea, do I walk through the valley of death. This is a valley of death. My kingdom is not of this world. And they groom you to accept these deceptions. Heaven's a place on earth. No, it's not. My kingdom is not of this world. But you can see how this sometimes secularization of the way Satan implements that narrative of falsity or deceptions into one's mind. Satan's target is your mind. And he uses many variables to groom you to justify his ways in a fallen world. Satan is the god of this world. But he's come down with great wrath. We are, a lot of people say they've been saying that forever. Well, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by military, know the end is near. I will kindle. Amos, Zephaniah, and Zechariah talk about kindling a fire in all of Gazza and Philistia, the Philistines, like Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria. Those are the Egyptian gods that serve false gods that can't save them. This word you live by, you die by. If you're serving the Prince of Peace, you're not at war with anybody. They're killing their own people over there because they leave their religion. If your religion causes you to have hatred or kill your own family member because they don't want to serve that deception, God is a Prince of Peace. If you're serving the true Messiah, it doesn't come with confusion. It doesn't come with war. It doesn't come with hatred or envy. So this is where you're under phylacteries. If like I said, the kingdom of Satan will take out the kingdom of Satan. Hate will cast out hate. You can't cast out Satan by being Satan. That's why you can kind of see the enemy's kingdom destroy itself. And actually, in all reality, the Lord had revealed to me, Satan's own military, this word you live by, you die by, is going to be the very thing that destroys his kingdom. His military forces will destroy the battle of Armageddon, will destroy him. There'll be blood up to the horse's bridle. Believers and unbelievers alike will be gathered in that great city, and there will be blood up to the horse's bridles. So that military force that's operating, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by military, he's going to destroy Jerusalem and restore it at the same time, his holy land. Remember, Israel, the physical Israel, not the spiritual Israel, because there's a spiritual Israel that comes into walking in the Spirit of God. The physical Israel is going to be destroyed. Remember, he's the fullness of the Gentiles. He's grafting them in over a period of time and centuries and histories into that location, that locale, the fullness of the Gentiles will be brought in, grafted in, and he will destroy and restore his land. He's going to destroy most of the phylacteries or the gods of Egypt all together at once. It's been happening over a time period, the fullness of the Gentiles.